And now on to mechanical ventilation. So mechanical ventilation is not the air leaking into the house or the air leaking out of the house. As I've mentioned before, that's infiltration, and older houses have quite a lot of infiltration happening. And because of that, we're not as concerned, believe it or not, with our indoor air quality when we have drafty houses with lots of infiltration. It's when we tighten up our houses that we need to start paying attention to mechanical ventilation even more. And there are specific areas where mechanical ventilation is required, even in our old drafty houses, so that we can minimize problems with indoor air quality. IAQ and mechanical ventilation. So indoor air quality, abbreviated IAQ, has become an important health and safety issue as sustainable rating systems have been developed. People spend on average 90% of their time indoors, and of that time, a majority of that is in their home. Now, as we know from the recent pandemic and quarantine, many of us were spending all of our time indoors at home. The common indoor pollution issues are combustion pollutants, so that's anytime something is burned, such as in a gas range or when you're cooking, space heating using combustion, water heating, automobile exhaust if there is an attached garage, and smoking. I would also add candle burning to that. Microbiological pollutants such as molds and fungi from moisture problems. Add mildew to that as well. Radon and soil gas pollutants from pesticides, landfills, and sewers. And particle pollution such as dust. So that's materials degradation. The fact that we've all probably noticed that in the bathroom around where the toilet paper is, there's a fine dust that is created from those paper products. And unfortunately, our skin shedding and pet dander are a large portion of indoor pollutants in that particle pollution. The last is volatile organic compounds, VOCs, again keeping in mind that the organic part of a VOC does not pertain to pesticides or how something is grown, but the fact that it is a carbon-based object. And we are all carbon-based life forms, so almost everything has VOCs as it breaks down. And those VOCs can cause smell. They can also not have a smell. And they are produced by paints, cleansers, lubricants, etc. Basically anything that goes from liquid to drying is likely to have VOCs unless it's 100% water-based. The American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers, which is referred to as ASHRAE, has improved existing standards. They improve them fairly frequently, about every 2 or 3 years, and they develop specific residential standards for mechanical ventilation to mitigate or reduce indoor air pollutant issues. And they also have settings or standards for existing construction. In the earlier part of the last decade, ASHRAE 62.210 2010 became the standard for any residential ventilation in buildings that were 3 stories or less. Previous to 2010, there were not regulations for smaller residential buildings. The major requirements require mechanical ventilation for all new construction for the entire house at approximately 40 to 70 CFM, and that's cubic feet per minute. It changes with the home size. And one of the things that we're going to see in the next version of our residential code, which is coming online in October 2021, is that whole house ventilation will be required for all new construction. That ASHRAE standard also requires mechanical exhaust for kitchens. So either a user-operated exhaust of 100 cubic feet per minute or 5 ACH, air changes per hour, and a mechanical exhaust for bathrooms. And user-operated means that it can be switched, and we're not going to go into a lot of detail with this, but when you have a whole house ventilation system, some of the requirements change somewhat for some of the spot ventilation because it gets tied in if it's on constantly, and that's why it's referred to as user operated. So if it is for a bathroom user operated and it has changed so it's no longer voluntary, also it needs to have either a timer or be a sensor that refers to either occupancy. So if somebody's in a bathroom, it turns on, that fan turns on, or it can be a sensor that is steam based. So when it gets to a certain humidity in the room, the fan automatically kicks on. If it is user-operated exhaust of 50 cubic feet per minute minimum, or if it is a continuously operated part of a whole house system, it's 20 cubic feet per minute. Fans must also meet specific noise performance requirements, and the word SONE, S-O-N-E, is used to refer to the noise that a fan creates.